Welcome back to another severe weather forecast. Everybody here by Adrian's Weather Forecast. Here we're seeing even more storms once again brewing up here for the Midwest. Our third day of straight severe weather out here in the Midwest and Northern Plains. We're yet going to be seeing another enhanced risk, our third day in a row with a level 3 enhanced risk for these areas here in Nebraska. The Dakotas and Minnesota do have a very big risk for tornadoes, large hail, and very strong wind gusts today. We're going to continue to monitor the timing, who can see the worst, and we're going to be seeing the strongest tornadoes today. So be sure to watch the whole video to get all of that. Before we get in the video, please hit that big subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to show your awesome support. And also, please be sure to also share the video to any friends and family that you know will be affected by this severe weather. But without further ado, let's get this video. So here we are looking at the National Weather Service here. We don't really have anything severe weather related yet, but we're just going to be talking about the flash flooding here from Tropical Depression Cristobal now. We're going to be seeing flash flood watches all the way from the Florida coast up to Wisconsin. So very, very widespread flooding, especially for the Mississippi River Basin here. We do have quite a big threat for flooding here, elevated at a level 2 there. We're going to be seeing flash flood watches and coastal flood warnings. And also going to be seeing flood warnings across a portion of the Mississippi River Basin river there for Louisiana and Mississippi, even portions of Arkansas there. We have flash flood warnings there. And you see here we have Cristobal bringing these really strong outer bands here. They're going to be overlooping throughout these general areas in the south central. That's going to bring in really heavy rain very soon, coming up for portions of the Ozark Mountains as well, up into the more advancing into the Mississippi River near St. Louis, Davenport, even Wisconsin there. And then we still have some special weather statements for Minnesota and even Iowa due to the heat here. So very, very variable conditions for severe weather for these general areas today. So we're going to be continuing to monitor this. Let's go ahead and check out now the satellite imagery here. We are starting to see some bands already popping up here. They aren't really big thunderstorms, but they are starting to develop some rain showers right now. Could have a thunder or two for portions of the Midwest here. We are starting to see, of course, these bands developing. We may see a huge pop-up of bands like we did yesterday. We had very little cloud cover, and then out of nowhere, boom, big, strong wall cloud formations, very large supercells with very dense cloud cover. That's basically what we're going to be seeing today. Really, that's exactly what we will be seeing here. Today we're going to be seeing a huge pop-up on satellite imagery. Maybe have an afternoon video, which I probably won't. I'll be quite busy today. But we can very well see for some really large QLCSs and supercells developing in this general area today. Very likely we're going to be seeing some supercells developing in the almost exact same areas as yesterday, really. We have an enhanced risk in almost exact same areas. So back at it again, we saw very large tornadoes yesterday. And at some point yesterday, we had 5 tornado warnings, tornado warnings at some point. So definitely going to possibly see that later today as well. As we get in the afternoon, we're missing a lot more energy here. We're just getting out here into the morning. It's around 10:30 Central Time there. So they are yet to have all the energy here, yet to have the overday heating. So definitely starting to see these fire up as we get later in the afternoon in these general areas. Here's our enhanced risk for these areas. We have an enhanced risk now for Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota, and Minnesota once again here. This is including almost the exact same areas here. He said it's a bit more to the south and a bit more to the east now, including the far southeastern portions of North Dakota and all the way to north central Nebraska, the portions of western Minnesota there. And then we have a slight risk for as well portions of the south central here in the Mississippi River Basin due to Cristobal bringing those very, very strong bands. Continue to see these tornadoes. We saw really a lot of tornadoes compared to combined for Saturday and yesterday. We had a lot of tornadoes, up to 10 combined. One for downtown Orlando because of Cristobal. We could very well see that scenario for portions of the south central there. As we check out the enhanced risk, we do have up to 566,000 people around there. So rounded up to 600,000. That's including Fargo, North Dakota, Moorhead, Minnesota, Watertown, West Fargo, and Michelle. Almost the exact same areas. Almost some cities that like Fargo, Moorhead, Watertown, West Fargo, those areas were in the enhanced risk yesterday as well. So back-to-back days in an enhanced risk. This is showing you that how the severe weather is definitely blowing up for the northern plains. June is the end of May. And all of June is when the Midwest really starts to blow up because of severe weather. And this is really showing that we've had 3 enhanced risks in these areas in the past 3 days, back to back to back. Tornado probabilities at a 5% chance for a highest probability. We have 3 areas. Of course, the south central, where you have the slight risk of the crystal ball there. Also, some water spouts are likely. 1 for Nebraska and South Dakota, and then 1 for northern Minnesota. Exactly why we have that very widespread enhanced risk. So basically, we have a very widespread tornado probability for today, all the way from the Gulf Coast to the Canada border. We have up to 9 million people under the 2% chance, including big cities like New Orleans, Birmingham, Montgomery, Mobile, and Jackson, Mississippi, also including areas like Aberdeen, Fargo, Fargo, West Fargo, areas near Detroit Lakes, even North Platte. Wind threat also at a 30% chance, but not a 30% hatch risk. So it's maintaining at a general 30% chance here for portions of North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, and Minnesota in that little smaller area in the enhanced risk for around 173,000 people, including Watertown, Michelle, and Huron, South Dakota. And then we have up to 945,000 people, basically 950,000 in the under the 15% chance for hail. So very well could be seen, for wind. So could very well see quite the strong winds, very widespread, strong winds in the general areas in the north central plains. So let's go check out the hail probability. This is where we have a 30% chance hatch risk. Hail is definitely going to be a very big threat. Hail is definitely the primary threat with winds behind it. And then also we have the tornado probability there. 30% chance hatch risk is this area exactly. This 30% chance hatch risk is highlighting the whole enhanced risk, as you can tell. This is highlighting the whole thing. Let me actually draw it right here. You can actually see this. This is the reason why we have portions of North Dakota and as far north as Minnesota under the enhanced risk, because of the probability of hail. So I'm going to highlight this. I can't do the best highlighting skills. But I'm going to try to highlight that. See? This is basically highlighting the whole thing. So as you see, the hail probability is exactly why we had enhanced risk for some specific areas. Because as you see, 20 probability, a 2% chance for some areas, but 30% chance hatch risk and 30% chance wind threat or probability. So 30% chance hatch risk for that 553,000 people under that enhanced risk, including Fargo, Moorhead, Watertown, West Fargo, and Michelle. As you see, we're going to be seeing really strong storms developing throughout these areas out here in the north central plains throughout portions of Nebraska. And also we're going to have the remnants of crystal ball bringing in the very strong storms in the south central. Here's yesterday's storm reports. We actually had 5 tornado reports. I predicted 7 tornadoes for yesterday, and I was not too far off. We saw 5 large tornadoes. Actually, one was very, very large in North Dakota. I was actually tracking it live. Not live on my YouTube channel, but like live as it was happening. And then we also saw 2 tornadoes yesterday in Florida as well. We actually had a couple tornado warnings yesterday for portions of Florida. That's including Columbia County and Lake County. That's exactly where we did see those tornado warnings there. And then we have very, very powerful storms. Tornadoes, 2 for North Dakota and 1 for South Dakota. I saw the Fulton County storm. I saw that storm, and I saw the McIntosh, North Dakota storm as well. So Sheriff Office has spotted that tornado there, and also radar indicated rotation there. It was very, very powerful. And we saw up to 109 wind reports there, so very gusty winds there to 65 plus knots, and 63 hail reports of over 2 inches. Quite impressive. Let's go and check out the NAM3KM model here on radar. As you see, by the later the afternoon, we're going to start seeing these bands really developing with the defined low pressure system for portions of eastern Colorado. It's definitely bringing the amount of energy we need. At this point in the afternoon, Kate values will come into play, and so will the amount of energy overday heating as well. And that's going to brew these storms here. That's going to give the amount of energy. This is basically going to feed these storms here for portions of northwestern Minnesota all the way to portions near Valentine's, Nebraska. Very, very powerful supercells. Maybe even squall are likely here. As you see, they do become connected in strong linear like storms here. Maybe you can even see a QLCS here, which is a squall line. That's going to be moving in for portions near Aberdeen, Michelle. Even extremely powerful bands developing for portions of the western area and even Colorado right there. The western area, Nebraska, and even northwestern Colorado or northeastern Colorado can be seeing quite the strong storms here today and then or tomorrow morning, and then kind of falls apart. But here we have the remnant of the remnants of crystal ball. This could very well bring in another enhanced risk for maybe Wednesday. We might have another enhanced risk on our hands for portions more closer to the Great Lakes, including Michigan, Wisconsin, portions of Illinois and Indiana. That is where we're going to be seeing that severe weather, not the plains, not the northern plains, and actually including the real Midwest, the real Great Lakes, including Wisconsin, Illinois, Michigan, Indiana. That is where we have that big severe weather coming in play. Let's go ahead and check out the Cape Valleys. As you see, very limited amounts of energy here because we're in the morning. The sun isn't completely out. Haven't had much overday heating there. But we're going to start seeing these numbers climbing as we continue moving on the day. 2,000 joules per kilogram right now and very strong caps. So really, if anything does develop at this point in this general area, it would fall apart here. But as we now continue to move on later in the day, a lot of energy is coming into play now, a ton. It's a huge blow up of energies. That's why you're going to be seeing those clouds and those storms blowing up. You can see very little cloud cover like that, and then next thing you know, we have a huge cloud cover like that with very powerful supercells, or maybe even some discrete cells as well. 3,200 joules per kilogram for portions of Wisconsin there. Could be seeing a small tornado probability there as well, so we're not going to exclude Wisconsin. Also up to 3,300 joules per kilogram for portions of northern Minnesota. A 4 on the SCP, and even negative spin on caps. So caps not very high. And here we look at, as we get later into the evening hours, these numbers blow up a ton by the end of today. We're going to be seeing up to 4,100 joules per kilogram for the areas of northern Nebraska, where we have enhanced risk, almost over a 4 on the STP here for a very good probability for tornadoes, 60% chance for very large supercells, and a 56% chance for large hail. So very powerful bands in these areas, likely even near portions of Minnesota can be seeing 4,300 joules per kilogram for portions of Minnesota. Very large probability for supercells. Like I said, we're going to be seeing these supercells developing for all these areas in a linear-like storm. So it can have a QLCS in these, or a couple QLCS in these areas, and that's going to be seeing the tornadoes, and then kind of fall apart. And then with the remnants of crystal ball, those numbers do blow up, but more towards the Great Lakes. And let's go and check out the supercell composite parameter here. As you see, we have a limited amount of energy, but we're already starting off the day with an 18 here, which is actually a very good number there. As we continue to go over the day, we're going to be seeing some numbers continue to increase for portions of Minnesota as we get into today, and even portions of near North Dakota, up to surpassing 20 on the STP here. So very well could be seeing quite the strong winds and large hail in these general areas. And then for portions of Nebraska, we can actually see some very high numbers, up to a 24 here, even higher than that, up to a 29, and an 8 on the STP. So Nebraska, you guys will be including the tornado probability for today. You guys weren't yesterday, but today you definitely will be included. So yeah, this is what we're looking at here, and cap's not going to be an issue. This thing won't cap out. We have a good amount of energy, not too low cap, not too high caps. It's right in the middle, which is perfect for having scenarios and avoiding that warm area loft, which will obviously weaken the process of storms developing. Hope you guys did enjoy the video, though. Please do not forget to like and subscribe, and bye, guys.